Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and holy hell, we have some absolutely massive news to go over here today. As it turns out, Activision and the Call of Duty franchise are somehow, miraculously, down even worse than we initially thought they were. We all know that Activision is banking on Verdansk to basically save Warzone and save the dwindling player count that we have here in the COD franchise. We've even heard it from Charlie Intel, who's been like the main source for COD news for over a decade now. Well, what if I told you that Warzone itself and the future of the Call of Duty franchise depends on Verdansk entirely? Today we got this leak from Ghost of Hope, who is somebody I've covered on the channel here dozens of times, and he posted to Twitter some new information about Call of Duty 2026. And yes, I know COD 2025 isn't even out yet, but that's how the COD development cycle works, man. They make all these things years in advance, which might be the reason why they're so out of touch with their community. But regardless, here we see exclusive details for Modern Warfare 4 2026. No old gen support, traditional UI like the older games, more traditional than Black Ops 6 anyway, engine being overhauled to address the Modern Warfare 2 problems like visual clutter and etc., being developed on dev kits for the next Xbox, and no Warzone 3 if Verdansk fails to retain current/returning players. Now this is all pretty big news in actuality, right? I mean, it's being made on next gen hardware, visual clutter is going away with an overhauled engine, it won't be held back by last gen, which will be huge. We've heard COD 2025 is going to be held back by last gen, but the biggest thing, of course, was right there at the very freaking end, man. If Verdansk does not blow up and save the dwindling player base for Warzone and Black Ops 6, the plan, at least as of right now, and of course it is subject to change, but the plan is to stop innovating Warzone. Holy shit, ladies and gentlemen, like, I can't believe what I'm reading here. I mean, it's no secret that Warzone's been on decline for a while. It blew up because of COVID. Let's be real here. I mean, the initial game did have some things about it that a lot of people liked and were pretty good and everything, but let's keep it $150. A big part of why Warzone blew up as compared to Blackout was it was free to play, and it came out right during the COVID shutdowns, man. It was a global pandemic. It was the perfect time for a video game like that to come out. But ever since then, when the world started to heal a little bit, the hype behind Warzone started to die down. They launched Warzone 2, and that was such a colossal failure that they removed the name Warzone 2 and went back to just calling it Warzone, and it seems like it's just been on a very slow decline ever since then. With the community seemingly turning their backs on Call of Duty this year, player counts are lower than we have ever seen here in this franchise. Like, normally when we see player counts like we're seeing currently on Steam, and also just the sheer amount of players that they're losing every single month, normally we have to wait until the end of the game's life cycle to see player numbers this low. Like, typically we're after the beta for the new game, we're a month or so out from the new game launching. Like, typically that's when COD is at its lowest point, and we've already hit that just a few months into Black Ops 6 and Warzone. Like, that's how bad the COD franchise is right now. And instead of addressing the underlying issues as to why the community is leaving in the first place, Activision decided to hit the nuclear button and bring back a 5-year-old Warzone map, and they think somehow that that's going to right the ship and basically save everything. We've talked about it before. Initially, they doubled down on Verdansk, then they tripled down on Verdansk. Well, today, they quadrupled down on Verdansk, saving the series, because believe it or not, they delayed Season 3 for Black Ops 6 and Warzone. I'm not making this up, guys. It came out today, right before that news from the Ghost of Hope. They have delayed Season 3. It's now going to launch 2 weeks later than expected, and the reasoning is pretty simple. They want to make sure this update goes through without a hitch, because they only get one shot, one opportunity, if you will, to relaunch Verdansk, right? And that update is going to make or break Warzone and potentially the Call of Duty franchise as a whole. If millions of people start flooding back into the game and player numbers rise and the community is hyped, then Call of Duty will be back on the right track, at least in Activision's mind. And it's important to remember that their version of Call of Duty being on track, or their version of a good COD, is very different than our version of COD being on the right track and being a good game. Like, the two things are night and day different. Activision only seems to care about the bottom line. They need people in Warzone because they need those people buying battle passes and bundles. Plain and simple, right? It's a free-to-play game. They make their money from microtransactions. That's all they care about. It's going to look so bad for them when they have to report to their shareholders that they lost so many players this year, and subsequently money went down as a result, because like any company, Activision is beholden to their shareholders. If people aren't buying all the shit in the shop, then the Call of Duty money-making machine slows down. They lose investors, and then they're forced to go in a different direction to try to make their money back. If the launch of Verdansk is met with a ton of bugs and cheaters and just an overall, underwhelming reception from the community, then Warzone is going to be cooked. Plain and simple. Ghost said there would be no quote-unquote Warzone 3 if that happens, which could mean a couple of different things. Number A, it might mean that there will just be no new version of Warzone, no new map. It may not even be updated with new weapons additions or new points of interest when each new game comes out. And number B, it will just stagnate even more than it already has. Like Warzone itself, I don't think is ever going to go away because it's a free-to-play battle royale, and just keeping the lights on essentially should be enough for them to make money. But the amount of time, effort, energy, and resources that they're currently putting into Warzone, they're probably going to stop that because they're not getting enough of a return on their investment. Now, until all this happens, we won't know exactly how they're going to handle things, but my guess is they're probably just going to keep Verdansk, they'll probably keep Rebirth Island, maybe Area 99, and then just let the game coast. They might add a new weapon here or there, just like a little something to keep people maybe slightly interested, but nowhere near to the extent of how they've been handling the game over the course of the past couple of years. I do think that if Verdansk fails, they're basically just going to put Warzone on life support, and then finally, after all of these years, ladies and gentlemen, the Call of Duty devs will have to focus all of their attention on multiplayer and zombies, which honestly sounds like a dream come true. It sounds like nothing but a good thing for the franchise, because me personally, and you guys might feel differently, let me know in the comments, but for me personally, I miss the days when you could talk to somebody and ask them if they play COD and have them not immediately assume that you're talking about Warzone. Like, multiplayer used to be the focus of the COD franchise back when this franchise was booming and solely focusing on the core tenets of COD, you know, campaign, multiplayer, zombies, and that being it would be incredible for this franchise. And I know so many of you like Battle Royale, and it will be sticking around, but it sounds like if Verdansk completely flops, then the focus for the devs will finally be on multiplayer again, instead of having the multiplayer basically just be a place for you to go to level up your guns for Warzone. That's where we've been for the past like 5 years here within the COD franchise, and it could be argued that the reason why skill-based matchmaking exists in the first place is also because of Warzone. And if they pull the plug on Warzone, man, like holy shit, like the possibility for change here in this franchise is nearly endless. But at the end of the day, we are talking about Activision here. If they do pull the plug on Warzone, it won't necessarily mean an instant win for the community, because the reason why Warzone is dying in the first place is not because of the map. Like Verdansk coming back, like we've said so many times, it's not because Urzikstan is terrible. It's not because of Area 99 or Rebirth Island or anything like that. The reason why people are leaving the franchise is because of the matchmaking, the hackers, the bugs, the cheaters, the overall lack of polish, and the fact that we basically have no sense of community when we play online because everything is run by AI now. We've said it countless times here in the channel, but content is not the reason why people are leaving COD. For a lot of people, Black Ops 6 and Warzone this year was simply just the straw that broke the camel's back. We are so tired of the manipulation and the lack of anti-cheat and just the overall problems that we have here in this franchise. And so even if Warzone does get the axe and all of their focus goes in on multiplayer, if they don't fix those core problems within the multiplayer, then multiplayer itself is going to be doomed to die the same way that Warzone did. It's crazy to think that Activision's own ineptitude is what's killing Warzone, and we're at the point now where they themselves are considering pulling the plug on the game mode. Like, I never thought I would ever utter those words. Like, I actually can't believe it. It doesn't even seem real. And we've often said that the only thing that will kill Call of Duty is Call of Duty itself, and we very well may be witnessing the beginning of that right here and now, ladies and gentlemen. And it will be super interesting to hear what Activision has to say in a couple of days. They did let us know that there's going to be some sort of an announcement for the 5th anniversary of Warzone, and then of course Season 3 is going to be coming, 2 weeks delayed, but it will be coming out with Verdansk as well. It will be very interesting to see how they handle all of this, but as always, we're gonna have to cross that bridge when we get to it. So be sure to sub to the channel here, and I'll keep you guys up to date with all the news and all the details as we continue down this journey. But for right now, I'm going to wrap up this video here today. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and feedback down there in the comments. Thank you all so much for listening and for your continued support of my channel, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.